Welcome to this exciting session of 4NewMobility Leadership Talk, where we explore transformative solutions for urban mobility. And today, I'm really thrilled to be joined by Tuba Yilmaz-Gozbasi, co-founder of Optiyol, and I hope I pronounced the name correctly, Raimonds Jurgelis, CEO and co-founder of Bruntor, and my really dear friend, Lluis Puerto, Head of Regional Innovation at EIT Urban Mobility. And together, we'll dive into optimizing logistics, sustainable transport, and scaling innovative mobility startups. And if it's okay for you, Tuba, maybe I ask you the first question.
Sure.
And your company, Optiyol, is known for optimizing logistics and service deliveries via route and time schedule planning solutions, which are critical aspects to deliver goods and services efficiently and timely. And what is really unique about the approach of Optiyol?
Thanks, Armin. So Optiyol significantly cuts transportation costs while improving visibility for logistics, retail, CPG, and food service industries in their first mile, middle mile, and last mile operations. And for this, we use a lot of data, as you mentioned, route optimization. We need data related to orders, to vehicles, any routes that they are using, map service data. So it is important to take all these data into account. So we have a very comprehensive data model to capture all the real life constraints and preferences. And we work with different sectors in different geographies and in different operations, the first mile, middle mile, and last mile. So it is important to also have some flexible, modular, tunable algorithm design to have adapt to their properties. And also we have a self-learning mechanism to autocorrect the inputs to produce more accurate outputs. And we all do with this our simple and functional UI for both planners, driver, and also managers. And we also have a flexible API integrations. But the underlying magic, what makes us unique is, I think I would emphasize above all these, our passion lies in making algorithms practical. So we have achieved significant success in executing very large projects with small team in a relatively short time frame, and it gives our competitive edge.
No, thank you very much, Tuba. Yeah, we will go a bit deeper into these topics later. Yeah, but before, I would like to give Raimonds from Bruntor an opportunity to introduce his company. I mean, Raimonds, Bruntor focuses on providing innovative cargo scooters aimed at enhancing transport of small cargo in cities. And can you describe how your product contributes to the growing demand for sustainable transport in cities?
Well, we should look at what we actually want to achieve with the product itself. It's not like just a simple product, it's for last mile delivery in short distances, where actually today we are seeing trend that everybody is jumping from the vans to the cargo bikes, but the efficiency it's still the same. You still have to get off the vehicle, go around it, pick the parcel, let's say, and then you can deliver it. With our vehicle, actually, it's so that you can be as efficient as walking. Even if you have to stop every 50 meters, you don't walk back to the vehicle. You just drive to the next stop, because it's like stand-up solution. You just jump on, jump off, save the time, and be altogether more efficient. So that's how we make the value there, where the efficiency is needed.
Thank you, Raimonds. Now to Lluis Puerto from EIT Urban Mobility. Lluis, can you share how EIT Urban Mobility actually identifies and then nurtures innovative startups in urban mobility, such as we have today examples, Optiyol and Bruntor? What are the key criteria you're
Yeah.
looking for in companies so that they join your portfolio?
Well, first of all, thank you, Herman, for hosting us on your podcast series. And yes, so EIT Urban Mobility, in a nutshell, is an impact investor. So we promote entrepreneurship and nurture, identify the best startups to bring the pathway, to accelerate the pathway towards sustainable urban mobility. So, of course, the different pathways for startup creation and acceleration are very diverse. And basically, we have three main ways of identifying. The first one would be to partner with the very well-established ecosystems. So we have partners in Tel Aviv that do the scouting for us. We have also an agreement with Station F in Paris, which will nurture with startups in the mobility field, of course. Also Berlin, and then this is like going to the safest pathway possible, because I mean those are very well established ecosystems which are generating very good startups and throughout time already for many years. But then we have also a very broad range of partners like Unternehmertum, so the startup creator from the Technical University of Munich. With them, for instance, they run our acceleration programs and even scaling programs, and they help us to identify and nurture those startups in different stages of maturity, of course. And then we have like a third way, which is using our very local hubs, ecosystems. And I think this is where Raimonds with Bruntor and Tuba with Optiyol come from. We have throughout the Baltics, Central Eastern Europe, and some South European countries, we have national hubs that will give us a lot of capillarity to reach to very local ecosystems. I mean, from a pan-European perspective, they are very local, but of course, Turkey, for instance, is a very large country, already big in itself. So we have specific partners that will do from ideation, hackathons to more incubation, acceleration, or even investment programs. And then they will help us also identify interesting startups that we can support to connect to a more pan-European ecosystem and let them grow. And this is the main ways we have to identify and have an eye in every corner of the European landscape.
I mean, you mentioned already the word scaling in the context of your partnership with TUM. What are some of the key resources and tools that EIT Urban Mobility provides actually to startups to help them scale across Europe?
Well, of course, the maturity stages can be very diverse, and startup can move very quickly through different maturity stages. So we have different tools for different maturity stages. Let's say in the from ideation and incubation, and we have programs like JumpStarter, in which I think Raimonds participated in a very initial stage before going to several other stages of maturity. But even before that, we are partnering with the best, I think, universities in Europe, like TUM again, or KTH in Stockholm, with whom we have master school programs, PhD programs, and even we have some small support funding for students, graduated students that want to start their entrepreneurial career, to support them create their startups. Of course, that's not the main way of startup creation and scouting for us, but it's an investment for the future. We need to bring our universities to the next stage because we are lagging behind with the US, for instance, very clearly here. So we have programs investing a lot of money with the European Institute of Innovation and Technology to make our universities be more entrepreneurial. So they incorporate innovation and entrepreneurship in their already established degree programs. And that's an investment for the future, as I said. And that's something remarkable. I think that it will bring results over the next years. But also, we have these different stages of incubation and acceleration. So this ideation part, also in the product market fit stage, where still the startup needs to perhaps pivot the product or service they are developing. Then we have also programs dedicated to fundraising when it comes to get more capital investments to grow. And then we have programs specifically for scaling, when there is already some seed investment and the startup wants to grow and go to perhaps a Series A investment stage. So all of these different programs are really tailored to the maturity of the startup, basically.
I mean, Lluis, when we discussed setting up such a roundtable discussion, I remember that you put a lot of emphasis on the topic equal opportunities, equal growth in Europe, and helping startups also in regions where maybe it's more challenging, to be successful with such a startup. I mean, in your opinion, how has EIT Urban Mobility contributed to fostering more equal growth across Europe, particularly in regions or sectors that are typically maybe a bit less served or overlooked?
Yeah, I mean, in Europe there is an innovation divide. So we have large Western, Central, West European countries. We have Germany, we have France, we have even the UK. It's not EU, but it belongs to the European ecosystem. And those are Netherlands as well. I mean, those are markets that are large and developed, and they attract a lot of talent, even from countries which are more in Central East Europe, in the Baltics, in South Europe, which are less developed. They are more fragmented because we are talking many times about small countries, Hungary, Slovakia, Slovenia, etc. I mean, those are lacking the critical mass that a very large country like France or Germany can bring. And that can become a problem, because there is the brain drain problem, because it will be always easier for innovators to develop their projects and their companies in West Europe than East Europe, or get opportunities there. So that's an issue, and similarly to what happens between Europe and the US. I mean, many innovative companies, in the end, they find better opportunities in the US because of the risk-taking mentality than in Europe, and that in the end becomes maybe a problem for Europe, not for the company, of course, because then it can grow and develop properly. But I think Europe, and I think also this has been clearly identified in the Draghi report, is having this issue. But coming back to this problem between East-South and West-North Europe, this innovation divide, which we have this objective also we are not here just to make money. We want to grow, financially, but we want to have an impact, and we want to close this innovation divide that is in Europe. That's why we dedicate a larger chunk of our investments, because we use public funding, to Central, East, and South European ventures in a larger proportion than other programs in Horizon Europe do. And so we are proud of that. And of course, it's a very long-term thing, but that's in the core of our activities. We need to help close this innovation divide in order to have a balanced development across Europe, and I don't mean EU, the broader term of Europe.
Tuba, you're one of these companies who were now supported by EIT Urban Mobility, which was now described by Lluis. And before this roundtable discussion, I made a deep dive into your company. I looked at it, whatever I could find, and I'm really impressed, because I believe that one of the game changers concerning mobility in the future will be AI. And I see that your company is using AI to make things more efficient. Can you highlight maybe one or two specific success stories or case studies where Optiyol's technology made a significant impact on customers' efficiency and also service quality?
Yeah, thank you, Herman. It is difficult actually to choose one or two, but I'll try to choose from two different areas. One doing B2C deliveries in urban logistics, last mile, and one doing B2B deliveries. So I will start with the B2C delivery. That is MediaMarkt. So that is a leading electronics retailer, and we are working with them in 25 cities in Turkey. And they operate a fully automated system without any planners, handling omni-channel deliveries and customer returns. And Optiyol optimizes their vehicle routes, resulting in reduced transportation costs and enhanced customer satisfaction. So here we see a seamless integration that is combined in-store and e-commerce orders into a unified system, ensuring efficient route planning. A full automation, there is no planners, everything is automated. So I think that is another good aspect of that. Real-time monitoring, so we enable real-time tracking of vehicles and order statuses and allowing proactive issue resolution. And personalized deliveries. So if you have some preferred time as a customer, then it is made sure that you will be having your order at that time. And of course, last but not the least, the environmental impact. So they are minimizing of environmental impact through those optimized routes. And my other example comes from B2B deliveries. So I would mention Pepsi. So they leverage the dynamic route optimization together with mobile driver app tracking solutions to streamline their B2B deliveries this time from depots to retail locations. So their head of logistics described Optiyol as a game changer, citing its high accuracy and ability to customize those routes tailored to their specific constraints and priorities. And these capabilities have significantly reduced fuel costs and delivery times, transforming their operations into a more cost-effective and efficient process. Additionally, Optiyol supports them for cost settlement for seamless collaboration between the shippers and the carriers. And these modules accommodate various costing models, different types of costs, and enable daily reconciliation of distance data based on what is the planned distance and what is the actual distance. So if there's a discrepancy between that, they have to come to an agreement with the shipper and the carrier. And at the end of the month, detailed settlement reports provide a comprehensive breakdown of all costs, ensuring transparency and precision in the cost management.
Yeah, thanks, Tuba. I could imagine, when you're a startup, and it's the same actually for very big companies. The biggest challenge is really to scale. What maybe were or are the biggest challenges for Optiyol to scale your services and your technology?
Yeah. So here, route optimization is a difficult area in the sense that it has been done mostly by planners and drivers. So they have some insights how to do that. And then we came and we tried to automate everything at once. So change management is one issue that we are still struggling. So if it is a new operation with everything starting from scratch and the first time drivers, first time there's no planners, then things are much easier. But if there is like an operation which has been running for like 20 years, more than 20 years, and then you came and you try to change and automate everything, I think it is challenging, but we got used to that. So it is the nature of what we are doing. So we got used to that. And also, it is different from customer to customer. Even if they are in the same sector, in the same geography, their way of doing business is different. So one of the route optimization, the route plans sounds perfect for that one of the customers, but it is worse for the other one because they are doing differently. So we have to adapt our scenarios, routes according to that, so that modular and tunability, configurability things are coming here. So this was one of the challenging areas, but now it turns out to be our competitive advantage because we have the opportunity to work with big global companies in different areas and different geographies. So now we learn how to do that. So it turned out to be our competitive advantage, but it was challenging at first. And the other one, I would say, managing that rapid growth. I think that is true for all companies, not just for startups or not just for Optiyol, but scaling the team and also the infrastructure to support that rapid growth while maintaining the company's culture and values. I think that is biggest challenges. So we are trying to deal with that.
No, excellent. Thank you very much, Tuba. Now, I think Raimonds, he was very patient. Yeah. Thank you, Raimonds. And
No
what I
worries.
will try, I will see if it works. Yeah, but I will try to show your bicycle. Yeah, and let's see if I can manage from the technical point of view. Yeah. But I'm very confident that this is possible. Now, I really love this approach, yeah, to logistics, yeah, in cities. Now, given the increasing focus on sustainable transport, especially for small cargo operations, how does Bruntor's solution fit into the larger picture of smart cities, and what impact do you see it having?
Well, let's start with the beginning, with the bigger picture. I mean, logistics, it's not only about the business. We privately do as much logistics as everybody else. We are going to work, we come home, we go for groceries, and so on and so on. So, and actually, it all began with the idea that why should I use a car? The story behind is I live like 1.5 kilometers from the store. So it's kind of far enough not to walk back with the groceries. So usually I take my car, and one day I thought, okay, it's wrong. Why should I do that? I have a scooter, regular two-wheeler, but I don't use it because it's unsafe when I come back. So at that point it was like, okay, let's build one, and slowly it started. So in this future cities, when we see cities closing down the city centers, we will anyway have to move things around. Let it be like some parcels, letters, or groceries, or kids. So we have to find vehicles that can actually do it because not everybody is able to drive a bicycle. We have large groups of people that cannot do that. And that's the problem then, which I see, that if we are taking away the option of mobility, we are taking away also ability to be independent in some sense of what they can actually do and achieve. So this is very important to keep in mind, that bicycle is great, but we need some alternatives out there, which is also more available and accessible. It's all about accessibility. And also, when we go back and zoom in the logistics, cargo bikes, when we see who is actual driver and the user of the cargo bike, those are mostly young men. But doing logistics, the average age of, let's say, postman in Europe is 50 something years. So there's a huge gap, and we have to close it somehow. And we have to make, again, like inclusive vehicle, which can be used for young as for older people. And older, I don't mean now like in a pension age, but even 45 plus, it's already sometimes demanding from the person to walk all day, let's say, or to pedal all day. So we have to find ways, and I think our solutions fits there perfectly. among all those small vehicles, bicycles, cargo bikes, small robots, larger robots, everything will come together, and it will not be just one perfect vehicle for everything. So we have to have like multiple options which we could use. And the impact again, yeah, I think it's the impact we are creating, that the vehicle itself makes it more accessible for broader group of people, and they can stay longer active at the work market in a larger scale. And again, then in private usage, if we can save a car trip, it's saved car trip, and that's already great.
Yeah, Raimonds, I think you gave us already some insights into what is the reason of success for Bruntors, yeah, and maybe you want to expand on it. But what I also would like to know is what were really so far also the challenges concerning your innovation, and also the challenges in the context of the commercialization of your cargo scooters.
Yeah. I mean, success, it always depends what you define as success, you know. Like some companies look at us and say, hey, you guys are very successful, and I think, okay, that was a tough day today, you know. So it's always challenging, but I think in our case we are working very close with customers. Like the whole development we did hand in hand with the customer, actually trying to make the perfect vehicle for just one customer. At that point, it was Latvian Post, where we tested different ways. Actually, I applied to work as a postman just to have even more insights in their daily job, which gave me the opportunity to understand like what is the actual job, what do they do, what are the movements involved, so we can optimize the vehicle around that job. And I think that was the biggest success that we could actually achieve, that lady 60 years old that is happy driving Bruntor around the street, and she doesn't want to change back to the bicycle. So or walking anymore, you know, like they found it very nice to have feature at their job. It also makes a little bit fun there because they can ride, and it's always like interesting thing to do. The challenge is, though, as we are speaking about innovation and we are speaking about mobility, then we also have lots of legislations going around in Europe, and it's sometimes very different country to country. And even if we are looking, and I like that you actually called our vehicle bicycle, kind of, but in the same time, we are exactly not the bicycle. And if we look like European broad legislation about the vehicles, that in most countries we have to find ourselves differently and independently for country to country, because we are falling through a lot of legislations. Let's say if someone's putting us in the bicycle category, we don't have any pedals, so we don't have any seat, so we are falling through there. This category, or a moped, we don't have a seat, so it's not a moped or a quad bike. What is it? And we have also some countries where we are then illegal. But in the same time, the cargo bike, which is like 4 or 5 times larger, is legally allowed on the street, and it's not safer in any way. So it's just different perspectives how you see and how you approach the thing. If I sit and pedal, it's safe, and if I stand and ride, it's the same safe. It's just how you see it, you know. And at the moment, this is our biggest mission, I would say, to make decision makers aware that we are growing into micro mobility era, away from the cars, away from the vans, but we have to have proper structures coming in legislation, so innovation can actually happen. So that would be our biggest challenge at the moment.
No, thank you very much, Raymond. Yeah, I mean, first of all, I love the idea that you put yourselves into the shoes of your customers. Yeah, and you looked at your product from the perspective of the customer. And I also like your comments concerning policy or regulation challenges for you, yeah, which I think maybe resonates a bit also with Lluis. Yeah, I think the European Commission understands, yeah, that this is a challenge in the European Union. And I think the European Union is acting on it. Yeah, so I think it's important to also mention this topic in this talk. Now, all of you're dealing with some urban mobility. Yeah, and what do you see now as the main emerging trends in the context of urban mobility, in the context of innovation? And which trends do you think will have the biggest impact on urban mobility in the next 5 to 10 years?
I will just make a small mention, connecting with Raimond's comment on the regulatory frameworks that in the end can be a limitation for innovation, especially in Europe, since we are considered to be the champions of regulation globally. And of course, this can have, and we know for a long time that this can have an important impact on the innovation, and we know that also, Herman, from the equal times, where I mean the standards were set in the very beginning, and it produced a kind of limitation for the innovation when we moved through 2G, 3G, and 4G networks. I think in urban mobility, we have, of course, different trends happening. You have automation really impacting now and scaling importantly in China and in the US. We can see that Europe is lagging behind. There are technology suppliers. There is Waymo, there is Pony AI, and many others in China, which are partnering with OEMs and bringing those services on the ground. In Europe, this is coming later, and we will have to partner with those champions in technology, which are not European. And then here, I think our policy frameworks, again, are a limitation for that, because we have different frameworks depending on the countries, even on cities, because when you move from one city to another city in the same country, you can have different vehicle access regulations. Somewhere you have to pay, some others you need a sticker, depending on how polluting is your car. And of course, this is a limitation, because for a startup or for any new product, you have to take into account many different policy frameworks that will impact your business growth. And of course, that's something that some other regions don't have. And also regarding drones, there are regions globally that are really betting hard on this, no? The Emirates, Australia, US, and in Europe you can find different approaches. I see in the Baltics, in the Scandinavia, that there is more support to drones. In some other countries, this is like very restrictive, and cities don't see really the value of that or the impact that it can have compared to cycling and walking. Our policy frameworks in the end are super connected in Europe to innovation in urban mobility. And for us, as a pan-European organization, it's very important to support the technology, the innovators, but at the same time, keep an eye on the regulation and be active in Brussels, because everything that we win on one side, we could lose it on the other side.
But is my understanding correct, Lluis, that you're supporting the innovation aspect, but also the commercialization aspect? Because I guess the regulatory framework is very much also related to the commercialization and the scaling opportunities. Yeah, is this also something where you support the startup companies in your portfolio?
For sure, yes. we are an ecosystem in the end. I mean, EIT Urban Mobility is the sum of its parts, and we have more than 1,000 stakeholders, 300 core partners across Europe. And one of the ways that we have to support innovators is through our own dedicated funded innovation projects, where we bring together the startups, some other SMEs that could complement, or corporates that could complement or be interested in that solution, cities, and we do POC, but we also do more larger scale deployments. So we support with this paid pilots, but also with networking, finding the correct partner elsewhere in Europe. We recently supported Volt, Estonian gross delivery company, to partner up with a Romanian electric vehicle supplier, and they are doing business together in groceries deliveries in Romania. So these connections are a great value that we can provide, and which help to produce this single market across Europe. That I mean, there is regulation, there is push, but it's not that easy because of the fragmentation that we still have in our local national ecosystems.
Mm. No, thank you very
If
much.
if I may add to Lewis, that actually we have also the connection from EIT during the project with PostNord, which normally for the startup would be like unachievable to get even in piloting or in discussion about it. So it's very important what EIT actually does for the community, for the ecosystem, and also for the startups. So thank you, guys.
Welcome.
No, but I could imagine that when you look for partners or when you look for customers, it's already very helpful to have the support of the European Commission in general, yeah, because it gives you a kind of quality stamp, yeah. So I think that's also invaluable, yeah. So I fully agree. Coming back to my question concerning the future of urban mobility, and maybe not to make it too complex for you, yeah. So I'm sure you're not too deep into these topics, yeah. But Tuba and Raimonds, in a nutshell, what do you think will be the most important, maybe new aspect which will be brought by future innovations to urban mobility? How would you see that it changes? Yeah. Have you made any thoughts on this topic?
Yeah, maybe I can add some. So we see all of us electrification, autonomous connected vehicles, micro-mobility, shared mobility solutions. So many things are happening, sustainable green transportation. So it is very difficult to choose just one of those as most impactful, because they are just, to me, evolving simultaneously. All of them are happening at the same time and adding to each other. And they are shaping a collective transformation in urban mobility. But from my perspective, because I'm mostly in the planning part, it is surprisingly still very manual. So the planners are doing that, is some human experience, and the drivers are sometimes not following the rules. But we are talking about autonomous vehicles, so how it is going to happen? So for me, it is surprisingly very manual. I mean, given 2024, we are talking about AI, everything, but still, I think the urban logistics is not that digitalized. So digitalization would be the most impactful, according to my thought, because once we digitalize everything, then we will see, we will track everything, we will measure everything, and then we will identify which areas are missing, and then take actions accordingly. So I think that would be the part. And also the multimodal transportation. So the modes of transportation are increasing substantially, and we'll be using them all together. And once we digitalize, it will be easier to track all those transfers and modes transport changes. So that would be easier, and that would be leading to more efficient systems and cities, in my humble opinion.
I totally agree, like that there is so many things going on, but if I should like pick some of them, one of them would be like shared mobility, micro mobility, which we have like with the regular scooters. I would say even we should called not bicycle lanes, but those lanes should be called micromobility lanes, which will emerge and then will grow more and more into the cities. And that we see actually the trend that the young people in the city, they don't even make a driver license. They go public transport or shared mobility, which is a very nice trend even for urban areas. And of course, autonomous driving. I mean, great solutions for middle mile, especially where the drivers are missing. So that will be playing a huge role there.
Yeah, I like your emphasis on micromobility. Yeah. I personally believe that micromobility is underestimated in the context of its future potential in cities.
I mean,
we
we are driving with the cars, like 3 tons of metal, and I'm driving sometimes just because I have a bag, and that's like statistically 40% of people doing that. So not because they actually need to carry something. So that's why I think micromobility is going to grow more and more.
Now a question to you, Tuba and Raimonds. I mean, can you share maybe some advice for other aspiring startups in the urban mobility sector on how to leverage resources such as what we discussed today, EIT Urban Mobility, all the support you got to grow and scale their businesses? Is there something which you could share, as advice?
Maybe I could start because our background, as Lluis mentioned already before, with very raw idea, we did apply for EIT JumpStarter. That was like first touch point with the JumpStarter, and during the boot camps, we had to think about the idea itself, and we had great mentors which helped us to move forward, to move quickly. Meanwhile, the JumpStarter was happening. There was happening another program supported by EIT. It was like pre-incubation phase, so it gave us like combination of the idea, the mentors from the sector pushing us forward, and that's how we won the EIT JumpStarter back then. But then later on, also all the information we get from the JumpStarter. There was another program, Investment Readiness Accelerator. They're called different at the moment, I think, but basically, again, like that was the next step where we grow together. And of course, there are some competitions supported where we could gain additional funds. Of course, for a startup, it's like the critical research there. At the beginning, you have tons of time, but not enough money actually to move things. So competitions can help and get you forward very quickly.
So maybe I can add some. So it has been like almost 4 years, I think we have been involved with EIT Urban Mobility. So we first applied for the grant for equity program at that time. I think it was called like that. And then we get some grant for growing our business. So doing that as a project. So at first we were just, okay, it's just for growing. This is what we are doing. You don't want us to do something like a new project or something. No, I think it was one vision that comes different to us at that moment, but now we are used to that. We are just still trying to grow it. And as you mentioned, Herman, it's like a stamp that you are funded by EIT Urban Mobility, so it gives us some confidence. I think that is very, very valuable. And we also tried other opportunities that EIT Urban Mobility offers. So we attended one of the accelerator, I think that was called Sustainable Steel Logistics Accelerator. So it has all those trainings and programs, demo days. So we attended that, and then we engage with the EIT Urban Mobility community. We are doing presentations about what we are doing to different communities. We are applying to different calls with some cities and the other things, and also utilizing some educational training resources. But I believe there is more than this. So if we invest more time, I think we'll be utilizing more resources and having more in terms of both funding, but also in growing. The growing aspect is very important. So that is all my recommendations.
Yeah, and I have something to add that we support the entrepreneurs, but it's super important that we have entrepreneurs that grow their businesses in the market, not through grants. Otherwise, we're talking about what we always say about grant entrepreneurs, which in the end is a startup that is making their living out of jumping from grant to grant, and that's not realistic at all. So we provide the seed or the support and the connections, which are super important to grow their business. But in the end, the business has to grow in the market, has to produce an impact in the market, and that sometimes needs fuel, as Raymond says. But importantly, the market is the validator of the company, not the grants that it can receive. That's I think always something to look at when looking at new companies, and that's very important for us. Yeah.
I actually love this as the final word, Lluis. Yeah, the market is the validator. I love this. Yeah. So
despite the regulation.
Yeah, but maybe you allow me now to close this session. Yeah, I really appreciated the discussion and all the insights. Yeah, Lluis, Tuba, Raimonds, thank you very much for this talk and this conversation and for sharing your insights into the future of urban mobility and to learn from Optiyol's efficient logistics solutions. And I didn't mention this, but Optiyol is from Turkey and Bruntor is from Latvia. And thank you also, Raymond, for introducing us to innovative cargo scooters. And thank you, Lluis, for giving us a bit more insight into what EIT Urban Mobility means to startups, yeah, how it supports startups, what is the role in nurturing startups of EIT Urban Mobility, and to provide then also innovation and to reshape really the future of cities. And I would maybe like to end with saying that the future is really to create a more sustainable, smart, and inclusive urban transportation. Yeah, and for all of us, and I felt this in this discussion. Yeah, to stay inspired and connected as we pave the way forward for better mobility. Yeah, so thank you very much, and have a good continuation of the day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Herman.